Hello and welcome back to JankTech. Normally I like clapping my hands at the beginning of these, but I'm holding a very cold, very needy cat. Welcome to 2026, y'all. Happy New Year. It's going to be a great year full of jank. I'm going to have all kinds of awesome stuff that I can't wait to share with y'all. Before we get it started, if y'all could, like I always ask, please like and subscribe. I love seeing that people want me to keep making these, and the best way to show that is by continuing to do what Boba Fett here is asking, no disintegrations. And then one last thing, I'm going to shout out my usual two Discords, the PDX Central one, swupdx, great for all of your needs, both sweaty and me. And then we've also got the Nightsisters Discord, a woman-centric place for you to talk about Star Wars with, people that aren't men. Okay, all that out of the way. What do we got going on over here? We got us a real weird brew today. So this is JankTech, the Caped Crusaders, because look at these dapper gentlemen. Oh my gosh. We got Bail Organa, we got Lando from Shadows, and we got the Shadow Collective Camp. So let's get into who our leaders are, and then we can get into what exactly this deck is doing. So first off, we got Bail Organa doing everything he can. Action, pay 1, exhaust him. If a friendly unit was defeated this phase, return a friendly resource to its owner's hand. If you do, put the top card of your deck into play as a resource. And as an action, not an epic action, a regular old action, exhaust him, discard 2 cards from your hand. If you control 4 or more resources, deploy this leader. Bail deploys at 4 resources as a 3/3. He's a little weenie guy. When you play a card from your resources, heal 1 damage from your base. So what are you trying to do with Bail? Obviously, he gets multiple deploys. He can redo what you have as your resources. When things die, then you can put something back. You can take a resource and then replace it with the top card of your deck. So this deck will benefit from us being able to manipulate the top card. We've got a few things that do that. And then since Bail can come multiple times per game because he's not deploying as an epic action, we are going to put as many plots in here as possible to take advantage of that stuff, because whenever we play a card from our resources, either plotting or smuggling, or one other situation that we will see, then we get to heal. And that's good because we have a 25 health base. Okay, and then who else do we have here? We got Lando from Shadows. Oh my gosh, I love this leader so much. Action, exhaust him, play a card using Smuggle. It costs 2 less. Defeat a resource you own and control. You do get to pay for the card, thus exhausting the resource and having the option of defeating a resource after you do that. This game lets you reorganize your resources pretty much however you want, whenever you want, just as long as you are maintaining which ones are exhausted and which ones are not. So that's important with Lando. You don't want to lose the wrong thing here. Lando deploys at 4, same turn that Bail can potentially come out. He's a 2/5. Action, play a card using Smuggle. It costs 2 less. Defeat a resource you own and control. Use this ability only once per round. So he gets you big discounts on Smuggle stuff. Obviously, it comes at a very high price of getting rid of a resource, but there are some cards in this deck that specifically care about you having less resources than other people. We are going real low to the ground with this one. We're going to be playing things at discounts. We are going to be not resourcing when other people are. We're going to be playing a lot of little guys. We're going to have to do some table talk here to convince people we are not the threat. And then as our base, we've got the Shadow Collective Camp, 25 health. When you deploy a leader, draw a card. This works great because Bail's deploy means we have to discard 2 cards to make that work. But that's okay because then we'll get a card back when we're done. So pretty good there. Give me just a sec, y'all. I'm going to throw in a very, very quick pause. All right, and we are back. Like I said, I have a very cold, very grumpy cat here. Anyway, let's get on with the deck. What do we got in here? We've got 43 ground units, and we've got 16 space units. So we're quite obviously vastly preferring ground over space. We are going to be playing lots of little weenies because we're not going to have that many resources, and anything that we can do that lets us take advantage of our resources, that lets us make our units stronger, all those are what we're going to want to do. So BD1's a 1/3 for 1. He's hidden, and when played, choose another friendly unit. While this unit is in play, the chosen unit gets +1/+0 and gains Saboteur. There's a lot of Saboteur in this deck. We want to make sure that our little guys are going to be able to hit whoever we want, whenever we want. So this is like good in a few ways because we can get our own sentinels. Because, like I say, every single time, sentinel, 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 sentinel. It also gives us bargaining fodder, saying, "Oh, I can hit that sentinel for you, but maybe you leave me alone." Bail Organa. He's a 1/2 action. Exhaust him. Give an experience token to another friendly unit. He doesn't seem that exciting at first, but oh my god, if you don't kill this dude, then you are going to regret it. There is a Twin Suns game that I played a few days ago that I'm actually in the process of editing so I can put on YouTube so y'all can see it too, where Bail Organa was being played in a deck with Harris and Dula as the leader, and the two of them together were just handing out a ridiculous amount of experience. So yeah, Bail's gonna make our guys better, assuming that nobody else messes with him. I know we're playing a game with a cat here right now. C3PO, anything I might do. A 1/3 for 1 action. Exhaust him. Return this unit to its owner's hand. Give a unit +2/+2 for this phase. So again, 3PO just buffs your guys, makes them a little bit better, but he hangs out looking weak and is not a giant target. Criminal Muscle, one of my favorite cards in this game. Amazing Aitor Prieto art. 2/1, when played, you may return a non-unique upgrade to its owner's hand. So Criminal Muscle is useful in a couple of ways. Obviously, you play it, you get rid of an Entrenched on somebody's Moisture Farmer. You get rid of a Condemn that somebody played on you. But you also use it if you have smuggled in something cool, like let's say a Hotshot Blaster, an Armed to the Teeth, and then you can play that on somebody else that turn after you've already attacked with whoever had this in the first place. So this deck's got a lot of filtering in it. We're going to be definitely going for these awesome Smuggle and Plot cards whenever we possibly can get them. And if we're using any of our Plot or Smuggle upgrades, then Criminal Muscle helps us use those on multiple of our own guys per round. I love it. I think it's super cool. Greedo, 3/1 for 1. When defeated, you may discard a card from your deck. If it's not a unit, deal 2 damage to a ground unit. He's just a little guy that hits big. People are going to want to kill him. But you know what? Yeah, you can kill my 1-cost unit. All right, it's fine. Like, this has got a lot of cheapos. And we want people focusing on our units and not necessarily our base. Jawa Scavenger, kind of like BD1. The Jawa Scavenger is a 2/1 for 1. It's there to be a saboteur, to hit anyone we want whenever we want, and maybe we can get a little bit of upgrading on it too with the Plot or a smuggled in upgrade. They're not supposed to be super exciting. They're just there to be the foundation of this deck. You can see that there's a lot of cheap things all over here. That is definitely by design because we are running low to the ground here, and our late game is going to involve playing a lot of cheapies that can get in and hit or filter our deck to make our stuff better. R2-D2, speaking of filters, 1/4 for 1. When played and on attack, look the top card of your deck. You may put it on the bottom of your deck. R2 takes the stuff that we don't want and puts it on the bottom, hopefully getting us what we do want. Remember, this deck, we want cards from our resource row. We want smuggleable cards. We want plottable cards. R2 helps get us those. He's got a big butt, so he can take some damage if he needs to. Absolutely love R2 in this deck, especially considering knowing what the top card of our deck is works really well with Bail's ability, because Bail says, again, If a friendly unit was defeated this phase, return a friendly resource to its owner's hand. If you do, put the top card of your deck into play as a resource. If you attack with R2 and you discover that the top card of your deck is a plottable card, well then awesome, that you are going to get that plot card played directly into your resources if you use Bail's leader side ability. It's super cool. Oh my gosh, y'all. Absolutely love it. Rebellious Functionary. It's another weenie 2/2 hidden for 1. Hits harder than it. Well, I mean, like for 1 cost, I think this is pretty good. So another not super glamorous one, but it's like it's gonna fly under the radar. Reckless Gunslinger. 2/1 for 1. When played, deal 1 damage to each space, and you can smuggle it in at 3, or potentially for 1 with Lando if you defeat a resource. Real awesome. I need to say first off with Lando, before I get started talking about smuggle cards, you do not want to use his ability before you are able to deploy him. So if you are smuggling something in on Lando's deploy turn with his ability, you need to make sure he is deployed, and you need to make sure Bail is deployed as well. You really need both of them to work in tandem, because if you get rid of something before you deploy, then you will only have 3 resources, and that is bad. Then you won't be able to deploy your guys because you will not be at the resource threshold. And also, you don't get to take advantage of Bail's super good ability of, when you play a card from your resources, heal. Well, yeah, every time you smuggle something in with Lando, you heal to Bail's ability. It's freaking great. Oh my goodness. Atagalia, 2/4 for 2. When an opponent plays an event, deal 1 damage to that player's base. So we're just trying to even the playing field. We're doing a little chip damage here and there. She's probably going to die pretty quick, but she's going to do a lot of work for us in the meantime. B1 security team. It's a 3/1 sentinel. Nobody's going to want to crash their cheapo unit into this. It dies pretty easy, but I mean, it hits back real hard and is a major way to disincentivize people trying to hit our base early on in the game. Battlefield Marine. It's just a classic in this game. Like, what more can I say? It's a 3/3 for 2 with no special abilities. It doesn't need them. This guy's great. Like, it's hard to kill, does a lot of damage. Love it. Chopper War Hero. 4/1. When this unit deals combat damage to a base, each player discards a card from their hand. So we, again, have a little bit of card draw in this deck, mostly in the form of the Shadow Collective camp, giving us card draw when we deploy our leaders. If Chopper is able to get some attacks off, then you are going to rapidly go through cards. But I think all you're going to count on is maybe 1 attack with Chopper before someone decides that they don't want to deal with them anymore. So that's definitely going to draw people's fire. And again, it's a 2-cost unit. It's okay if it draws fire. It's not going to be the one that's going to necessarily like win you the game, but you might be able to do a lot with this in the meantime. It's worth saying there are a couple of cards in here that help deal with, if for some reason Chopper is out and runs rampant, with refreshing your hand afterwards. Cloud Rider, 3/1 ambush. So you basically, this is just a removal card. It says essentially pay 2 to do 3 damage to a ground unit. The cool thing about things like the Cloud Rider, about Chopper, about Greedo, these low health, teeny tiny butt dudes, is that it makes it easier for you to fire Bail's ability on this side and make sure that you get resources in your hand and cards from the top of your deck into your resources. So this like lets you filter through things kind of all the time if your guys are dying, which, you know, we got lots of little weenies that can potentially die and make that ability proc. Freetown backup 1/4 on attack. Give another friendly unit +2/+2 for this phase, and you can smuggle it in for 4. 2 if it's Lando and you're defeating a resource. I like these guys a lot. They are just very innocuous. I think they are another deceptive sort of card where it's got a big enough butt that you don't necessarily think anyone's going to swing into it, but being able to buff your other guys is super good. A +2/+2 is no joke. So if you combine this with upgrades that make it stronger, with plot cards that make it stronger, with temporary buffs, I think it can become another one of those does damage without looking like it does damage. Because again, this deck is all about doing better than you look like you're doing and being a threat without looking like you are being a threat. I think I've had some other decks recently where they just come stampeding out of the gate and you're just like, oh my God, like that's the obvious big threat. This deck doesn't really have obvious big threats. And that's something that I like a lot about it. I feel like that is very thematic, especially with Lando, because, you know, Lando is known for being a bit of a scoundrel and playing his cards under the table. Gonk, come on, it's Gonk. Like, if you're running a deck like this one that is coasting along on, what do they say, like a wing and a prayer or something, where we need all the help we can get with our resources because our gas tank is always running on fumes. How's that for metaphors? Have we alienated the non-English speakers? I am so sorry. On attack, the next unit you play this phase costs 1 less. So Gonk lets us get stuff out for cheaper. Maybe we'll play a 1 cost for free. Maybe we'll play a 2 cost for 1. Anything that we can do to lessen our spending is great. That gives us more undercosted smuggle cards that we can get out. That gives us the opportunity to play more plot cards. Jar Jar Binks. Misa proposed this Jar Jar. Oh my gosh, y'all. 2/1 when played, you may give another friendly unit +2/+2 for this phase. And Jar Jar is a plot card. Being able to plot Jar Jar out whenever you deploy Bail is so useful. The action economy you get with Bail, with plot, is just incredible. So because Jar Jar is like the first plot card in this deck, let's just run through what the sequencing looks like when you deploy Bail, because it is a lot of stuff all happening at once. And I feel like I'm like doing like a shell game with people when I play this deck. And if you play a Bail deck, then you know what I'm talking about. So let's imagine you have 4 resources, you got Bail, you say, okay, I'm going to exhaust Bail. I'm going to discard these 2 cards from my hand. Boom, boom. I deploy Bail. When Bail deploys, I exhaust these 2 resources and play Jar Jar. I give Bail +2/+2 for the phase. I heal 1 from my base because I played a card from my resources because of this ability. And I get to draw a card from my base from Shadow Collective Camp. It is just a whole bunch of stuff that all happens almost at the same time. It's super cool. So I find myself having to kind of talk my way through those turns to make sure I'm not missing anything, because when you've got a bunch of triggers piling up, it can get complex fast. So we want to win because of our superior negotiation skills and our superior gameplay skills, not because we managed some sleight of hand and we're able to cram an extra trigger or something in. And also we don't want to lose because we're forgetting to buff something when something can be buffed. So talking through these deploys can help a lot in terms of making people aware of what's going on your side of the table, because that can happen in this deck. And honestly, I feel like that works to your advantage, because then you're just like blah, 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 and things didn't change a whole lot. At least not as far as everyone else can tell. So I love that. I love that about the plot cards in this deck, especially because ideally you'll be playing them as much as possible. Junior Senator. God, I love this nugget. This dude is such a little nugget. Oh my God. I want to give him kisses. He's a 3/2. When played, you may return an upgrade that costs 3 less to its owner's hand. Again, it's like a slightly beefier criminal muscle that you can use to bring your upgrades back. Notice it says it doesn't specify non-unique. So if for some reason someone has a unique upgrade, the only things that are coming to mind right now are things like Darksaber, and I know Darksaber is more resources than that. But I guess if it's like Darth Vader's lightsaber or Darth Maul's lightsaber, something like that, that can get bounced as well, which is just fantastic. L3, so in addition to being super thematic when you play with Lando, so you can yell L3 like in the Han Solo movie. I think L3 is legitimately a fantastic card. When played, you may rescue a captured card. If you don't, give a shield token to this unit, and you can smuggle her in for 4, 2 less with Lando. Fantastic. I am actually kind of thinking about that DJ deck I did recently with Thrawn, and I'm like, oh man, I should build a DJ heroism deck with like Luthen and use L3 to rescue my own things. I think that'd be super cool. In any case, if someone captures your stuff, you can take it back with L3, or you can just ruin a DJ player's day. There's so many of those DJ players out there in the world. But just getting a 2/2 shielded for 2 is also fantastic. Privateer crew, come on, this has got to be in a deck with Lando. A 2/2 for 2, but you can smuggle it in for 6, 4 with Lando. And if you play it using smuggle, you give it 3 experience. So yeah, it's not super exciting, but it is beefier than it seems at first. And yeah, it'll also heal you 1 if Bail is deployed. R2, full of solutions, 2/4. When played, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, search the top 3 cards of your deck for a card and draw it. Again, deck filtration gives us what we want when we want it, especially gives us plot, gives us smuggle, gives us the flexibility for later turns. As I'm going through the 2 costs, I'm realizing I should have put MIGs in this deck. How have I played this deck so much over the last couple of months and not put MIGs in it? Anyway, if you're watching this, put MIGs in this deck. You could probably replace one of the other 2 costs. I'd say maybe even Chopper, to be honest. Maybe the B1. I don't know. Let me know. Who would you replace MIGs with? It would be another 2 cost. But, this is what I've been playing, and it's been fine. But I think, yeah, MIGs would make this deck extra good. You don't want to replace R2 with MIGs, because R2 works directly with MIGs. And if you're not keeping every single card in this game memorized, here, let's just get a quick MIGs Mayfield. When a player discards a card from their hand, you may deal 2 damage to a unit or base. Use this ability only once per round. So MIGs, obviously, if we're doing a lot of discarding, which we have to do in order to make Bail work, then yeah, we're gonna want that in there. Okay, and now that I've finished with that giant aside, regulations bureaucrat. This is not one that you want to get rid of. Okay, this dude, this obnoxious 0/5 Imperial official, action, exhaust him to exhaust a resource. Why is this good? This is good because we are running less resources than other people in this deck. If you play this guy turn 1 and turn 2 start exhausting other people's stuff, you are bringing them down to your level, because at a certain point in this deck, after you have like 5 resources, it's going to be okay if you are getting rid of them every single turn. I mean, yeah, like if you see a clear line of play to where you can get some of the bigger, more exciting plot cards out with Bail, then certainly do it. But if you decide to use Lando's ability a couple of times over the course of the game, Regulations Bureaucrat is going to help you out a lot in making sure that other people don't really get too much farther ahead. Bold Recon Commando, 3/4, Saboteur. You just hit when you want. Who you want, when you want. Not a super exciting card, but again, it's one that just lets you do whatever damage with it when it is out and doesn't look flashy enough to get attention until we start playing our extra upgrades or playing other event cards that make things more exciting. Cassian Andor, of course, Cassian's in here. So 3/5, smuggle for 5. But you could, of course, get in for 3 with Lando's ability when played using smuggle. Redium, which, I mean, Cassian can just decide games. Anytime you can get a unit out ready, that can potentially decide a game. That can impact end game math so much. Oh my gosh, Cassian, can you continue to be an uncommon that feels like a rare? You are so good. Oh my gosh, never change. Secatro Vizago. You try sounding all fancy, and I don't know, I think it sounds kind of Italian, right? 3/4 Underworld on attack, reveal the top card of your deck. An opponent may pay 1 if they don't draw that card. This is awesome. Okay, so you get to see what's on the top of your deck, which is great for Bail's ability. And let's not forget to mention, for Smuggle, you're also replacing with the top card of your deck. So if you're planning on smuggling later, even if somebody doesn't pay the cost, even if somebody does pay the cost and you don't get to draw that, then you still know it's on top and you're still prepared to say, okay, well, if that's a card that's plottable, that's great, because that'll end up in my resources. Or if you're like, oh no, I don't necessarily want that, then you may have to wait in order to get it out of your resources. Or you can plan to say, oh, well, that is something that I'll be able to get back to my hand with Bail at some point. I think Secatro works real good with leaders that care about the top card going into the resources. Comp Vanth, 3/2 for 3. When defeated, search the top 10 cards of your deck for a unit that costs 2 or less and discard it. For this phase, you may play that card from your discard pile for free. Playing things for free is great. We're not going to have that many resources. Playing a 2 cost or less is great because there's tons of them in this deck. Comp Vanth is good, usually at trading. So if Cobb Vanth and something else dies, that's pretty good for you. And of course, Cobb Vanth getting killed also lets us use Bail's ability later on. So there's a lot of great things that Cobb Vanth does for this deck. And being able to do some searching, always good too. The Coruscant Dissident, or as I've called it before, the Coruscant Dissident, because, I'm uncultured. A 3/4 for 3. On attack, you may ready a resource. Again, awesome. That means Bail's ability is free. That means you can do some of that bounce and upgrade back to your hand with some of the cards in this deck and then play them again after you attack with the Dissonant kind of thing. Like, there's a lot that you can do with the resource juggling. And especially if you have this out with like Gonk at the same time. I think that just the resource manipulation can be really, really helpful in here. I think this deck is going to get better once the next set comes out and we start getting credit tokens. I mean, I can't even begin to imagine what that's going to do for this game in terms of like impacting card costs. But I think decks like this are going to benefit a lot from just being able to squirrel money aside and use that to pay for things later on. Ezra Bridger, resourceful troublemaker. This is, I guess, before he gets all into like helping animals. He's a 3/4 for 3. When it completes an attack, look at the top card of your deck. You may play it, discard it, or leave it on the top of your deck. Again, letting us set up for cards that we would like to get into our resources if we are plotting or smuggling, or just getting that great trademark Ezra Bridger action economy and giving us a 2-for-1 in terms of being able to attack and then immediately play a card. Fantastic. I am going to throw in another brief pause. I will be right back. All right, and I am back. Awesome. We were at Frontier Trader. God, I love this card. More Aitor Prieto art, of course. So it's a 2/2 for 3. What a deal. Wow. When played, you may return a resource you control to its owner's hand. If you do, you may put the top card of your deck into play as a resource. So again, more shell game resource fumbling. We can set up for Lando. We can set up for Bail. I love the Frontier Trader. I think it's a cool card. I'm really hoping at some point we're going to get Jawa stuff, like a Jawa leader or like a Sandcrawler base or something. Maybe it'll be next set. It seems like they kind of fit in with the themes of next set. So, Fantasy Flight, give us some Jawas, please. Cadal Conics for our survival. 3/2 for 3. When played, you may defeat all non-unique upgrades on a unit, and she is plottable. So again, you can play her with Bail on one of his mini deploys. You can get rid of a lot of stuff that's giving you issues, like, again, in theory, a moisture farmer with a bunch of upgrades on it. Oh my gosh. So the cool thing about her being a card you play with Plot is that since we are going to plan on playing Bail, we're going to plan on deploying Bail multiple times this game. That means she can sit there in your resources as your separate hand of cards, waiting for when she's going to be useful if someone plays something really awful. And you'll be able to get kind of a sense of that if you see the kind of leaders your opponents are playing. Like if you see somebody playing like Bo-Katan, Sabine, Lamasu, you're like, okay, I should probably save in case there's like a Darksaber, or if someone's playing Kylo, then you can think, oh, well, there's maybe going to be a named lightsaber in this deck. There are all kinds of unpleasant stuff. Excuse me. I just named only unique upgrades. Y'all get my point. Cato's going to be great if you think somebody's going to be stacking stuff like Entrenched, Disciples Devotion, Electro Staff, Hot Shot. She'll take care of all of them. She's awesome. Night Owl Skirmisher. It is a 4/3 for 3. Smuggle it for 5 or 3 with Lando. So, I'd pay 3 with this. 3 for the Night Owl Skirmisher, not bad. Tala Dearth, I can get you inside. 3/3 for 3. Each other friendly unit gains hidden, and she is plottable. And hidden does specifically say that if a unit was played this phase or deployed this phase or created this phase and it has hidden, then it can't be attacked. So as far as I know, when you plot out Tala, everything else gets hidden. That includes the leader you just deployed because it was deployed this phase, which is pretty cool if you are trying to get like a big swing in with Bail. Love it. Of course, tech. Come on. We're playing a smuggle deck. We got to have tech. 2/5 for 3. Each friendly resource gains smuggle. The gained smuggle cost is that card's cost +2 and its aspect icons. And you can smuggle them out for 4. 2 with Lando. Oh my gosh. So yeah, this just means everything is smuggleable. And with Lando's ability, as long as you're defeating a resource, then everything is smuggleable at its original cost. I think that is super cool. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I didn't put DJ in here because I am not a complete butthead. But I mean, if you want to put that DJ unit in and live out your year half, the first half of year 1 meta with that DJ tech combo, be my guest. But no, nah, man. Shamson Dula, 5/4 for 4. When played, if an opponent controls more resources than you may put the top card of your deck into play as a resource. So this is a great card to play if you have used Lando's ability already this phase. Maybe you paid 1 to smuggle a hot shot out and you had 5 resources at the time. You used your 1. You defeated it. You've got 4 left. Everyone else has 1 more than you. You're like, bam, Champs and Dula, get another card as a resource. Easy. And now you got this like big 5/4 Chonkus that's slightly undercosted. Awesome. Kazuda, he's not a spy. 2/6 raid 2. Will you control fewer resources than an opponent? This unit gets +2/+0. Great. We are going to be in that situation at some point in this game. So one of the things about this unit that I like a lot is the numbers that are the biggest and easiest to read on the card are the 4, the 2, and the 6. And it just makes people have to read a little bit more and think a little bit more to be like, oh, wait, Kazuda's actually going to be hitting for 6 if we're not careful. So it's not like... It's like being able to be more under the radar. Again, we like being under the radar in this deck, and that certainly is Kazuda. Principled Outlaw. Oh my gosh, I love this guy. A 4/4 for 4. On attack, you may exhaust a ground unit or smuggle in for 6. Potentially less with Lando. Exhausting a ground unit means this dude can exhaust your opponent's leaders. That's So good. This guy can exhaust somebody's gonk droid. This guy can exhaust somebody's loath cat. There's just all kinds of fun stuff that this principled outlaw can do. And I say great. Like, we need someone with principles in this deck. Like being able to shut your opponents down in all kinds of different fun ways is just amazing. I love this card. Weequay Pirate Gang. It is a 3/3 for 4 with ambush or smuggle in for 5. Again, 3 with Lando. It's not the greatest card in the world. I will be the first to admit that. It does give you some options in terms of using it in conjunction with, you ambush it out. If Bail is on his undeployed side, then you can ambush and then it dies. And then you get to use Bail's reorganize your resources thing. Or, of course, if you smuggle it in when Bail is deployed, then you get the heals. So it can do a few extra things that in a vacuum it's not as good at doing. But like, I think the way that it can either be discounted or help Bail do his thing, I think it's worth the include in this deck. And again, it has that flexibility of being able to maybe save you when you just need an ambush right away. Chewie, classic Chewie, 3/6 for 5. Sentinel, got a big butt. First time using, this is my first time saying the word butt in this video. We're 36.5 minutes in and I'm just now saying the word butt. Oh my gosh. What have I even become? Oh my goodness. I'm like respectable or something. Anyway, and when he's attacked, ready him. So he's a big sentinel that nobody wants to attack because then he becomes ready. Awesome. This is just a big roadblock that no one wants to deal with. Chewie is such a fantastic sentinel. I love him so much. You'll love to see Chewie when you get to this point in the game. Dracelian Commandos, that is a 4/5 ambush. That's plottable. So like a very good use of your Bail plot is to deploy Bail at 5 and plot this guy out and heal 1 and attack into something. Heck yeah, love these guys. Zori Bliss. I think this card is cool. I wish more people used Zori, but you know what? We can use her in this deck. Anytime you see a card that costs 1 less to play normally than to smuggle, you know you're getting a good deal with Lando. And that's definitely Zori here. She's a 4/7 for 5 or a 4/7 to smuggle in for 4. Pretty good. On attack, draw a card. At the start of the regroup phase, discard a card from your hand. That's not an additional cost that you have to pay in order to attack. So if you use all the cards in your hand after you draw the card, game does not care if you don't have anything to discard. It's great. Being that she's a 4/7, it means she's also immune to both Fell the Dragon and Takedown. So yes, please. That's great. Cinta, yeah, we're playing plot. We need Cinta. She's a 5/5 for 6. When played, you may attack with a unit. And yeah, you can use her to immediately attack with Bail. That doesn't seem super good, but who knows what you're going to have out at that point. She is just so flexible. The threat of being able, of knowing that a plot heavy deck is always potentially going to have Cinta on deck once you get to 6 resources is like pretty scary. Because you get so much in that one turn. Being able to just get an instant attack with a leader is so good. Of course, you don't have to attack with a leader. You can attack with a 5 cost that you played the previous turn, which is also fantastic. Remote Escort Tank, 5/5 for 6. When played, give a unit Sentinel for this phase, and it is plottable. So you don't have to make this a Sentinel. Of course, it's not bad if you do. You could just make Bail a Sentinel if you think the game's going to go another round after that, because we do want Bail to die as much as possible so he can plot as many plots out as possible. And War Juggernaut, you know, like, of course, War Juggernaut. God, I love the War Juggernaut so much. It's a 3/7, gets +1/+0 for each damaged unit. When played, deal 1 damage to each of any number of units. It doesn't especially have a ton of synergy with this deck, so if we're really searching for cuts, I might actually cut War Juggernaut in favor of Migs. But I don't know. I'll think about that. But I think that's going to be my most likely cut if I had to do a off-the-cuff revision of this deck. Again, let me know what y'all think. This is still a great card, but I kind of do wonder, in this deck, is the War Juggernaut going to be impactful enough? I guess we'll see. We got some space units. There's 16 of them. That's not a whole lot. We're primarily focused on ground, on having like lots of little sentinels, on just, not sentinels, lots of little saboteurs. But we do have some little cheapos in space, and then a couple other ones that take advantage of what we're trying to do here. So we got a Cartel Turncoat. It's a 2/3 for 1. Bounty draw card, but whatever. It's going to be fine. Nobody's going to kill that. Nobody's going to get card draw from it. Bravo Squadron Fighter, 2/3 Saboteur for 2. Just a solid little ship. Collections Starhopper, it is a 2/2 for 2, or Smuggle It In for 3. 1 with Lando. What a deal. Oh my gosh. It's like, you want a smuggleable ship? Here's your smuggleable ship. Get out of here. It's not the most exciting unit in the world. I will give it that. But it is cheap. It is smuggleable. It can restore you a little bit from your base if Bail is out while you smuggle it in. Blue Leader. Yeah, come on, man. Blue Leader. It's a hero deck with green. How can you not play Blue Leader? It's such a good card. 3/3 Ambush for 3. When played, you may pay 2 resources. If you do, move this to the ground arena and give 2 experience tokens to it. So yeah, it's just super versatile. It can kill things in either one of the arenas instantly. And let's not forget, if it has ambush and it dies, well, then that means it can make Bail do his leader side, reshuffle your cards from your resources and get a card from the top of your deck. It's the piece of junk Falcon. I know, yes, I put one in here. I have one. I have one of these cards and I wanted to use it. And I'm like, no, we have to have it in here. This is Lando's ship. Of course we need the Falcon. It's just another one of those like generically good cards. Anytime you get something that comes into play ready. Like, that's why every hero yellow deck plays this stupid card. And why I can't wait for a rotation is because I still don't want to shell out to get more of these. Maybe I'll just proxy them and it'll be fine. Anyway, 3/4 for 3. Enters play ready. It's so good. When you ready cards during the regroup phase, either pay 1 or return this unit to her owner's hand. So yeah, you do have to keep paying to keep the Falcon running. But like with Cassian, anytime you can play a unit that's ready, that's game changing. That's why this gets so much play, because having a ready unit whenever you play it is so good. If it comes back into play from being smuggled, then if it comes back into play from being captured, it's just ready. This thing is so good. It is just so good. If you played New Adventure on it, it comes into play ready. It's just ridiculous. Man, this card is good. I can see why it's still, around $20. Significantly less than it used to be, but still. If you don't have this, or don't want to shell out, I wouldn't worry about it. It's not a critical piece of this deck. You could easily substitute this. And maybe I didn't have to put it in, but I'm not going to apologize for it. I have one. I think it's a cool card. Sanctioner's Shuttle, 2/3 for 3. Coordinate when played. This unit captures an enemy non-leader unit that costs 3 or less. This card is great. It gets rid of some low-cost nuisance that you are trying to deal with. Likely Coordinate's not going to be much of a problem because our leaders both deploy at 4. We have lots of cheapo units. We should be able to get enough to satisfy the conditions for using the Coordinate with this one. Smuggler's Starfighter, 2/2 for 3. When played, if you control another underworld unit, Give an enemy unit -3/-0 for this phase. We've got plenty of underworld units. Lando himself is underworld. And it's smuggleable for 4, 2 with Lando. Again, what a deal. So just being able to debuff something is pretty cool. Stolen AT Hauler. It is a 4/5 for 3. When defeated, choose an opponent for this phase. They may play this unit from its owner's discard pile for free. So yeah, this is just an undercosted card that hits hard. Like, yes, there is the potential that it's just going to get passed around the table and a bunch of other people are going to take it. That's fine. You know, like, we're going to be able to hit with it first. It's likely going to draw some fire, and I'm okay with that. God, I love this card so much. Bright Hope, the last transport. Love the Bright Hope. 2/6 for 4, giant butt, sentinel in space. When played, you may return a friendly non-leader ground unit to its owner's hand. If you do, draw a card. So anything that has an exciting when played effect, you're going to potentially get again. You could play Criminal Muscle again. You could play the Junior Senator again. We can do more juggling stuff. You could play the Frontier Trader again. The list is endless. How many of these guys? Well, okay, there's not a ton that are like going to be super useful, but again, the other cool thing about Bright Hope is that if you had Jar Jar out, you use Bright Hope, you pull Jar Jar back. That means you can play Jar Jar again on a later turn. Get that sweet, sweet plottable buff. I think that's pretty sweet too. Naboo Royal Starship, fit for a queen. 2/5. Each friendly leader unit gains raid 2 and overwhelm, and it's plottable. Oh my gosh, this is like the card you want to see on your 4 resource turn. This is so good. Like, this is one of those, if you get this card in your opening hand, do not mulligan. Like, this is such a good card in this deck. And as long as you can keep this card safe, then it's going to do so much work for you. Oh my goodness. Maybe I should reiterate. Raid 2 and Overwhelm is huge for leaders. I know that, like, thematically, I guess this is like an Amidala thing, but with Bail, because we don't care if Bail dies, we like that he has Overwhelm and Raid 2. Like, if this is the only thing that's buffing Bail, he's going to hit for 5 with Overwhelm. So that's enough to kill, like, some other low tier, like, little butt leaders. And if he dies in the process, great. We'll bring him back next time. We'll plot out something else. It'll be awesome. And also, this just makes Lando a little bit stronger, which is great because Lando is not he's not very strong stats wise. So every little bit helps. This certainly does. Strike Force X-Wing. When played, you may deal 2 damage to a ready unit. Great. So you get some damage on a unit. You can plot it out. It's a 3/2. Lots of great things happening here for 4. I feel like this is more impactful in like draft or sealed, but I think in this context, it's still a pretty decent card considering you're playing a leader that benefits from plots. Valiant Assault Ship. Oh my gosh, I love this card so much. It's a 3/4 for 4. Saboteur. On attack, if the defending player controls more resources than you, this unit gets +2/+0 for this attack. This is like made for you to play with Lando. Okay, like, oh my gosh, just fantastic. I love this card so much. I had this in a Lando deck that I made back when Shadows was the only other set besides Spark, and I was playing a Lando Tarkentown deck for a while before it was a thing. And this card just does so much work for you. Oh my gosh. Blockade Runner, 4/4 Saboteur for 5. When this unit deals combat damage to a base, you may give an experience token to this unit. Great. So we can't cheat it out early, unfortunately, but it's a Saboteur. It gets stronger. It's just a good, solid ship to play. And yeah, love the Blockade Runner. Senatorial Corvette, 5/4 for 5. Saboteur. Perhaps you're seeing a theme here. When defeated, each opponent discards a card from their hand. Awesome. So people aren't going to want to kill it because my hand, oh no. But also, like, it does a pretty good amount of damage too. So yeah, this is a good one in like your top end. Black 1. Oh my God, it's Poe ship, but not the good Poe ship, the bad Poe ship. 4/4 for 6. When played and when defeated, you may discard your hand if you do draw 3 cards. We are going to be bereft of cards by the time we get to 6 resources. That discard 2 card thing that Bail does when you play him, that eats away at your hand. So the black 1, that is there to be a hand refiller when we have no other cards left. So hopefully we won't be discarding much at that point. Yeah, I have a soft spot for this card. It was like one of those first legendaries that I saw that was super cheap, and I've wanted to find uses for it. And I think this is one of the few uses for it, is just you go through your hand with Bail and you refill it with black 1. And then if you really need to, you can do it again later on. It's, a 4/4 for 6 is not the best deal in the world, but I think its ability makes up for it. And the Falcon, Lando's Pride. Yeah, you're playing this in a Lando deck. Come on. 5/5 for 6. If you play it from your hand, it gets ambush, which is awesome. Or you can smuggle it in for 6 or 4 with Lando. So you could, in theory, play that when you deploy Lando and all of a sudden have a 5/5 in space just ready for next turn. And then play another Falcon the turn after that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's just such a good solid ship. I love this version of the Falcon. Obviously, it makes the most sense to play it with Lando, but it's kind of cool that the smuggle cost is the same as the regular cost, and you just don't get the ambush. So it's kind of good all around. We got a few events. We got Daring Raid, just classic Daring Raid. Deal 2 damage to a unit in a base. We need some basic, just finish the job with, if we've run into something with Bail, we need to do a little bit more damage to kill it. Boom, Daring Raid. And being able to sneak a little bit of damage onto somebody's base in the final round, also good. Heroic Sacrifice, you play this on Bail. Draw a card, then attack with a unit. For this attack, it gets +2/+0 and gains when this unit deals combat damage. Defeat it. Yeah, because we want Bail to die every single round if possible. Then Heroic Sacrifice gets us there. It gets more damage. It gets us card draw. Mwah. So good. I love this card. I wish I could have more copies in this deck. Recruit. Search the top 5 cards of your deck for a unit. Reveal it and draw it. Awesome. We need units. We need things that we can plot. We're looking for things like the Naboo Royal Starship or Cinta or Jar Jar. And Recruit helps get us those. Smuggler's Aid. 1 cost, heal 3 damage from your base. Smuggle it in for 3, or use Lando's ability to get it in for 1. This card screws up math at the end of the game. I think it's fantastic. Timely Intervention. Of course, Timely Intervention. 1 cost, play a unit from your hand. Give it ambush for this phase. Smuggle it in for 2, or for free if you're using Lando. So being able to play Timely Intervention as a 0 cost, give something ambush card is pretty cool, y'all. Oh my gosh. Although it does hurt having to, no. Gosh, how does all that work? Play a unit from your hand. So part of the cost is, I don't know how all this syncs up now that I'm thinking about this more. Play a card using Smuggle. It costs that much less. Defeat a resource you own and control. So I'm wondering if you do get, and correct me if I'm wrong here, because this is one of those, like, the timing of everything gets weird. Is it nested inside of doing all of Timely Intervention stuff? Because I'm guessing if it's, you play the card and do all the things on the card, and then you have to defeat a resource. So does that mean that you can play for 0, you replace with the top card of your deck, you pay the cost to ambush the thing out, you resolve any of the wind blades, and then you go ahead and defeat a resource? I would actually really like to know this, because I don't think I've seen anybody play this with Lando. I feel like Lando decks have generally always been with red, because there's so many good cards in red. Precarious Predicament. Hey, it's that one weird outlier. Yeah, come on. Y'all knew this was going to be in here. I mean, the thumbnail gave it away. Two cost, return an enemy non-leader unit to its owner's hand unless its controller says it could be worse. If they do, you may play a card named It's Worse from your hand or resources for free. I'm a sucker for this kind of thing, okay? Any card I can play that makes somebody have to say something is just like, oh man, oh, that's good stuff. There's not enough people playing I Am Your Father in this game either. But Precarious Predicament, I want to hear somebody say it could be worse. And yes, of course we have It's Worse in this deck. And the great thing about the way Bail works is that there's an excellent chance you can manipulate It's Worse into being in your resources, or if it's in your resources, back into your hand. And I think with the way that you're constantly shifting where everything is with your hand and the top of your deck and your resource row, I don't think people are going to want to take the chance that you maybe don't have It's Worse. I think it's going to be likely in this deck that you're probably going to have It's Worse unless you discarded it to deploy Bail, which don't do that. Anyway, this card rules. Like, oh my gosh, this card rules. It just introduces that kind of like mind game stuff with this deck that I love so much in this format and in this game in general. And if any of y'all have played Twin Suns with me, you know how much I enjoy the politics and the mind games. And this just really, really emphasizes that stuff. Yes. Cripple Authority. 2 cost, draw a card. Each opponent who controls more resources than you discards a card from their hand. You know what? You're playing Lando. You're going to get rid of a resource. And then you are going to Cripple Authority. And everybody is going to look exactly like these two Imperial jerks do on this card. They're going to be like, oh my God. No, my hand. Oh, this sucks. It's going to be great. I love it. This is like one of those cards that I had high hopes for, in spite of like the art being kind of silly. And I feel like I've never seen anyone else play it. So play this card in this deck. You will not be disappointed. Oh my goodness. Krea's Whispers. 2 cost, draw 3 cards, then put a card from your hand on the top of your deck and another card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. This is exactly what we want for this deck. We get to stack our deck. We get to get rid of something that we don't need. And we get like actual card draw. And we can do it with any of the cards that are in our hand. And then we're set up to use Bail. We're set up to smuggle things in. It's great. I love this card. Love this card. Love this card. Spark of Hope. Yeah, you're playing Bail. You should be playing Spark of Hope. Choose a unit in your discard pile. If it was defeated this phase, put it into play as a resource. And then with Bail, you can get it out of your resources, replace it with the top card of your deck. You can play it again. Just beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Trade Route Taxation. Choose an opponent if you control more units than that opponent. They can't play events for this phase, and it's plottable. So this is great if you want to pick on someone in particular on, let's say, a deploy turn. And think, okay, I think you're most likely to do something bad to me, so shut them down with Trade Route Taxation. And, of course, heal with Bail. Spare the target, return an enemy non-leader unit to its owner's hand, collect that unit's bounties. Yeah, this could have been Waylay, but I just like this card, and I'm likely not going to use it on my own guys. If this really bugs you, you can put in Waylay instead of this. It'll be fine. But just getting rid of something is great. Maybe it'll have a bounty on it. It probably won't, but just bouncing something problematic back to hand is such a good way of like removing it, probably for good. Who knows if somebody's going to want to replay something in this format. Sweep the area, return up to 2 non-leader units in the same arena with a combined cost 3 or less to their owner's hand. So I like this card. This is one of those ones I have kind of a soft spot for. It's great at getting rid of upgraded tokens. It's great at getting rid of things that multiple people control. It's just kind of like a nice flexible card that gives you a lot of options, especially in early game. But if nothing else, it's kind of just like oh, I can return a 3-cost unit. But like having the additional options there is very cool. Wrong Ride. Exhaust 2 enemy resources for you, 3 resources to do it, and it's plottable. So again, if you think somebody is going to do something really awful on one of your deploy turns with Bail, well, Wrong Ride 'em. Oh my gosh, yes. I think this is one that you can pretty much resource almost any time and not feel too bad about it, because I don't feel that it is a card that's going to be like, oh, you see it, you play it every single game. It's like, this is very situational. And since you are, well, you can split it up. This is exhaust 2 enemy resources. You can do 1 and 1, but likely, I don't know, maybe you can choose if you want to be a jerk to 1 or 2 people. Oh man. Anyway, I think it's a really safe card to resource. That is what I'm trying to say here. Topple the Summit. Heck yeah, dude. This is an argument for maybe War Juggernaut could stay in here, but I mean, that would be like you playing this on your 7 resource turn. I don't see this deck going to 7 resources. Deal 3 damage to each damaged unit. Plot. Great card to plot out with Bail. If everything has been swinging back and forth and left and right, especially if you haven't finished things off with Bail from a previous round and you swung into it, then Topple the Summit can close the gap. This hits things in either arena, which is pretty awesome. So yeah. Oh yeah. I've been getting yelled at all night from this cat. I absolutely love it. And you saw this earlier. It's worse. 7 cost, defeat a non-leader unit. But again, we're hoping to be able to play this for free from our hand or from our resources. It's worth noting that you don't get to replace with the top card of your deck if you play this from your resources for free. So try to get it into your hand. And, with Bail or the Frontier Trader, you can do those things, which is awesome. And we got some upgrades. These all work with our leader abilities. Hot Shot Blaster, the classic. 1 cost attached to a non-vehicle unit, or smuggle in for 3. And we have both of those colors in this deck. So that means also we can smuggle this in for 1 with Lando. When played using smuggle, attack with attached unit, and just gives +2/+0. It's such a good card. It just means damage can come out of nowhere. Being able to play this for essentially the same price, regardless of if it's from your hand or your resources, is awesome. It's one of the cards that you look for in this deck. You want that Hot Shot Blaster. You want to get it no matter what. Arm to the Teeth. This is almost as good, honestly. Man, Arm to the Teeth is great. Cost 2, attached unit gains on attack. Give another friendly unit +2/+0 for the phase. You can smuggle it in at 4, less with Lando. And it gives +2/+0. So buff one thing and then buff another thing on attack. That's why this works great with any of your return and upgrade to hand cards, because then being able to replay Arm to the Teeth on something else and swing and buff and just ride the buff train to victory. I love it. I love that so much. Jetpack attached to a non-vehicle. Oh, and it's worth noting, Arm to the Teeth, you can put on anything. It's not just like a non-vehicle unit. You can arm anything to the teeth. Okay, Jetpack attached to a non-vehicle unit. When played, give a shield token to attached unit. At the start of the regroup phase, defeat that token. You can smuggle it in for 4 or play it for 2, and it just gives +2/+0. Getting that temporary shield is so good, though. Oh my goodness. Especially if you're playing, if you are playing around building up one of your guys with a few upgrades and then swinging hard, well, then Jetpack will give you a little bit of stability and and a little bit of cushion so people don't just immediately kill you. Sneaking Suspicion. It is a plot upgrade for 2. You just get +1/+1. But, playing this with Bail, just making him into a 4/4 and healing 1, I think that's pretty good. It's just a good, it's not a super incredible card, but it's just a good, workhorse of a plot deck. Sudden ferocity, +3/+0 and plottable. Now we're talking, oh my gosh, you can put sneaking suspicion, sudden ferocity, or unveiled might, +2/+3 for 4. All of these you can just put wherever you want. That's something that I think is super cool about the 3 of these. It's just, they're plottable upgrades that make things real big, and having the flexibility of so many deploy turns with Bail means you can stick those upgrades where they need to go, whatever arena they need to go in. If we have saboteurs that people aren't able to attack, we stick it on those saboteurs. We get the damage in. These are great. I wish there were so many more plottable upgrades like this that I could stick in this deck. I know this is likely not an evergreen mechanic. I kind of wish it was. I really like plot. But, you know, if they keep doing things that are smuggle adjacent, that's going to make me happy, because I really like how these two work together. I think this deck is a lot of fun. You do have to think about your resources and your top deck a lot, but it's very interesting playing this kind of sneaky, like, where does the damage come from? I'd love to hear people's thoughts on this deck. I know there's cards that I could put in that I haven't. Like, you could put Surprise Strike in here. You could put Breaking in here. Any of those events that you play and you do more damage kind of things, I think would work great in here. But for the meantime, like, this is what I put in because I think these are, like, fun with the way they work together and utilize the leader abilities. Yeah, but that's going to do it for me. What do we have coming up soon? I've got a couple more decks that I want to talk about, actually, because, yeah, like, I didn't put a video out for a couple of months, but I was still playing this game and putting a lot of things together. So I've got a couple more Twin Suns decks. I've got one special custom mode that I want to do a video on as well. I just need to schedule people to play it and get recorded. And then I've been working on editing an actual gameplay with Twin Suns decks from our Secret Santa exchange. So all that's in the works. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, for liking and subscribing and all that YouTube BS. I really appreciate it. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for me. So yeah, until the next video, let's do this again sometime.